If you want to send the same email message to many people, this program will do it for you in seconds. The first thing you'll want to do is collect the list of all the people you want to send your email to and their email addresses. You will need to create a CSV, separated values file of these names and addresses. Many programs will save their output as a CSV file, Excel being one of the most commonly used. Whichever program you decide to use, you should record the name in one column and the email address in the other. You may have additional columns of data if you wish, but the bulk emailer will ignore those. Make sure that the first row of the file contains the names of each column, known as the field names, rather than the details of your first addressee. When you are ready, you should have a file that looks like this. You should save this file as a CSV file from whichever program you are using. In this example, I will call this file address.csv. The bulk emailer sends its emails via an ISP's email server. ISP stands for your Internet Service Provider, usually the company to get your broadband internet access from. The bulk emailer needs to send its messages via your outgoing mail server, known as an SMTP server. You will have to obtain the details of the following settings in order to use your ISP's SMTP server with the bulk emailer. SMTP server name. You can usually find this value in your email program, or you can obtain it directly from your ISP. SMTP port. You can usually find this value in your email program, or you can obtain it directly from your ISP. SMTP authentication. To avoid spam abuse, almost all ISPs require this setting to be true. SSL TLS. Most ISPs require this setting to be true. Username, usually your email address, and password, usually your email password. Lastly, you will have to prepare the email that you actually wish to send to all of the people in your CSV file. If you wish to include an attachment, such as a PDF document, then you will need to have access to that too. We would suggest that you save all of these files in an easy-to-remember directory on your computer, so that you can quickly find these files when you use the bulk emailer. The prepared email should be saved as either a plain text file, text, or if you require formatting, an HTML file, HTM. In this demonstration, I am going to show you both types of email. In this example, I have saved the plain email as email.txt and the HTML email as email.htm. A plain email can be created in any simple text editing program. Microsoft include Notepad with every copy of Windows, so you can use that. An HTML email can also be created in Notepad, but you might wish to use an HTML editor such as Adobe Dreamweaver. You can obtain many free HTML editors online. When you have created your email using one of these editors, you should save that document into the same directory as our other files. If you wish to include an attachment with your email, then you will need to know where this is located on your computer. In this example, I am sending a PDF file called report.pdf. With all this information assembled, you are ready to actually send the emails. When you open the bulk emailer, you will see the following screen. We now have to fill in all the details that we've just assembled. Let's start from the top. First, we choose the CSV file containing the email addresses by clicking on the Choose File button to the right of the CSV file field. The bulk emailer will then read the CSV file and now needs to be told which fields contain the name and also the email addresses. It will ignore all other fields. First, let's choose the field which contains the name information. In our file, this is conveniently called name. Secondly, let's tell the bulk emailer which fields contains all the email addresses we're about to send to. Again, in our file, this is conveniently called email. We now have to tell the bulk emailer to inspect our CSV file and read those names and addresses. We do this by clicking on the Prepare Data button. We can see the result of what's happening by looking in the status window at the bottom of the screen. As we can see, the bulk emailer has discovered that we have 4 emails that we're about to send. We will now fill in all the information about the mail server that will send these emails. These are the details that we obtained from our ISP. The first setting is the name of the server that will send the emails. We fill this in the server field. Many ISPs don't want you hammering their server with 1,000 emails in the space of a few seconds. That will make them think that you are a spammer. The delay in secs setting specifies the delay in seconds between each email being sent through the server. A second should suffice, so that's what we'll choose here. If you have problems with your ISP rejecting your emails, you might wish to increase this setting. The next setting is whether your ISP requires that our messages to its server are encrypted. These days, most ISPs require this. This is done using Secure Sockets Layer, or SSL, so we will tick the setting here. Before the days of spammers, all email servers were open to being used by anyone. In an attempt to reduce the flood of spam that we all regularly receive, most ISPs require us to have a valid username and password before we can use their email server. We will enter our username here and our password here. As email servers are often also performing other tasks, your ISP will have different services running on this one machine. In order to connect to the mail server service, we need to specify a particular port. Communications on this port are destined for the email server. We specify the port number in the port field. Right, we have now told the bulk emailer who we wish to send our messages to and all the details about the server through which we'll send them. The final piece of the puzzle is to tell it about the email that we're going to send. When an email arrives in your inbox, it usually shows the name of the person that this email is from. We enter in the Your Name field the information we'd like to appear there. Usually this will be your name, but it could also be the name of your company. I will enter my name here. Similarly, you can also specify which email address the email that you are sending is coming from. Again, this is usually your email address, but could be the email address of a support team at your company. I will enter my email address here. Next to where the email has come from, your recipients will also see a subject line showing a brief heading as to what the email contains. You should enter the details of the subject line that you wish to be displayed in your emails here. In this example, we are going to send out a monthly report, so I will enter monthly report for my subject line. You now have to choose whether you are going to send a plain text email or a nicely formatted HTML email. You should already have created the file containing your email content, so this is just a matter of choosing plain text or HTML email at this point. I'm going to show you how to send both, but in this instance I will choose an email type of plain here. Having chosen an email type of plain, we must now tell the bulk emailer which file contains the body of the email that we wish to send. We can pick this file using the Choose File button next to the plain email field. If you make a mistake, you can click on the Clear button and use the Choose File button once again. Often you will want to send an attachment with your email. Whereas the email itself is usually some form of plain or formatted text, the attachment can be any file you wish: Excel spreadsheets, Word documents, PDF files, and so on. Our email has a subject line of monthly report, so I am going to choose the PDF file which contains the report that we wish to send. Again, if you make a mistake, you can click on the Clear button to remove the attachment and start again. You don't have to send an attachment. Maybe you're just sending an email, in which case you would leave this field blank. Okay, we're almost done. The bulk emailer now knows the details of the email that we are sending, any attachments we wish to send with it, the server that will actually send the emails to the recipients, and the names and email addresses of those recipients. It's now time for the bulk emailer to do its job. You should now click on the Go button. You should now watch the contents of the status and last error windows at the bottom of the screen, as the bulk emailer will let you know of any errors that it encountered while sending your emails. Each successful email will result in an OK, 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3 progress message in the status window. I've included myself in this email distribution so we can actually see what appears in Outlook. This is what your recipients will actually receive. You can see the body of the email, which came from our email.txt file, together with its attachment. In the interest of completeness, I will now show you the one difference if you're sending out an HTML email. The only difference when sending out an HTML email rather than a plain text one is what you choose here. Last time we chose plain. On this occasion we will choose HTML. You will now have to choose the HTML file that contains your nicely formatted email rather than the plain one we used in the first example. Other than that, all the other settings remain the same. With that change made, we can resend the email to the same recipients, but this time containing a nicely formatted email instead. Once again, we can click on Go and let the bulk emailer go to work. Once again, you should watch the contents of the status and last error windows at the bottom of the screen to see if the bulk emailer encounters any errors. As before, we are hoping to see a series of OK messages. Once again, I have included myself in this email distribution, so let's see what appears in Outlook. This is what your recipients will actually receive. You can see the body of the email, nicely formatted, which came from our email.htm file, together with its attachment. A full report of the last bulk emailer run will be contained in the file bulkemail.csv, which you will find in the same directory as the bulk emailer itself. And that's it. You've now sent your email, so you can quit the program. We hope that you find this program useful. If you encounter any problems or have any suggestions, please contact us at info@shoreprograms.co.uk.